I want to start today's deep dive with a feeling, I think. I think everybody knows this feeling, even if we don't, say it out loud.
Okay.
It's that specific kind of exhaustion that comes from having main character syndrome. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. The crushing weight of being the protagonist.
Yes, that sense that the camera's always on, the spotlight is on you, and if you mess up, the whole production is just ruined.
It's a lot of pressure. You're responsible for the plot, the character arc, the happy ending, everything.
It's exhausting. But here's the hook for today. What if the way out of that pressure isn't to, win the movie? What if the secret to real freedom is realizing you're not the main character at all?
Interesting.
What if you're actually a video game character? And not even the hero, but like the boring guy in the corner who sells potions.
It sounds like a demotion, doesn't it? Like you're giving up.
Huh.
But according to the stack of sources we're digging into today, that exact shift from main character to what gamers call an NPC, a non-player character, is the key.
The key to what?
To unlocking what Mahayana Buddhism calls perfect wisdom.
Okay, so we are doing a deep dive today into the Prajnaparamita, which, that translates to the perfection of wisdom.
It's a huge body of literature.
Huge. But we're focusing on how it tackles this one concept, Śūnyatā, or emptiness. And usually this is where people's eyes glaze over. It sounds so abstract.
Dry philosophy, yeah. But the sources we have today do something really cool. They act as a bridge. They map these ancient ideas onto two very modern analogies.
A movie projector and a video game.
Exactly. And the mission here is, well, it's pretty ambitious. The source material basically claims that if you can really get your head around these two analogies, it can fundamentally shift how you process suffering.
So it's about moving from seeing the world as this, solid, scary place
to seeing it as a projection, something you can navigate without getting hurt.
Okay, so let's get into that first one, the projector. But to understand the projector, the source says we have to first understand the screen, the air.
Right. Let's just address the elephant in the room. When most people, especially in the West, hear the word emptiness or Shunyata, they freak out a little.
Yeah, they hear empty and they think nihilism, a big, black, empty void.
The abyss staring back at you,
Yeah.
that whole vibe. But the source material corrects this right away. It asks us to visualize something else. Imagine a wide open space, just clear, empty air.
Okay.
Now, a bird flies through that air. A thunderstorm rolls in. Does the air stop being air? Does it, fight the bird?
No, of course not. The air is just the space it all happens in, allows the bird to fly.
Precisely. That is Shunyata. It's not nothingness, as in non-existence. It's openness. It's the potential for things to happen. The sources really emphasize that this emptiness is the fundamental backdrop of reality.
So it's not a destroyer. It's more like a host.
A perfect way to put it. It's always there, it's always peaceful, and it accommodates everything.
Okay, I like that reframe. It's
Yeah.
not a black hole, it's a canvas. But here's the problem. My life does not feel like empty air. My life feels crowded. I've got bills, relationship trauma, career stress. It all feels so solid, so heavy. So where does all that stuff come from if the baseline is just air?
And that is where the projector comes in. The texts say that every one of us is walking around this empty space with a movie projector strapped to our chest.
A portable cinema, I like it.
Basically, and you switch it on, a beam of light shoots out, and it hits the little bits of dust floating in that empty air. And what happens when light hits dust?
You get an image,
yeah.
hologram.
You get a movie. And this movie creates the illusion of a world. You see a house, a car, your job, your enemies, your friends. You see yourself. The source calls this samsara.
So our whole reality is just a play of light and shadow happening in this open air.
But here's the catch, and this is the tricky part. It feels real.
It feels incredibly real. If I walk into a wall in my movie, it hurts. If I lose my job, I feel actual panic. It doesn't feel like a hologram.
That's the trick of the light. The problem isn't the light, and it isn't the air. The problem is our confusion. We get so caught up in the plot that we forget it's just light hitting dust. We solidify it. We think this tragedy is forever, or this success is who I am.
So we're like someone in a theater gripping the armrests, yelling at the screen because we think the monster is actually going to eat us.
When really it's just photons. But to understand why we're so obsessed with the movie, we have to look at the battery. What's powering this thing?
The notes mention a specific fuel mixture, two components, avidya and tanha.
Right, and these are crucial. Avidya is usually translated as ignorance, but I think that sounds a bit harsh. It's more like a fundamental misunderstanding.
It's the not seeing that the movie is a movie.
Exactly. It's thinking the dust is solid brick, and tanha, that's thirst, or craving. It's that sticky, magnetic desire to pull things you like closer and push things you don't like away.
I love this scene. I want it to last forever. Or, I hate this scene. Get me out of here.
That's it. And there's a mechanism, Sankara, that's kind of the momentum keeping the reel spinning. As long as that battery of craving is plugged in, the machine just keeps running. The drama continues.
It's a loop. We think it's real, so we crave things, which powers the projector, which makes more movie, which we think is real.
You got it. And this is where the text introduces a kind of fork in the road. Two main ways to deal with this projector. Two different operating systems for Buddhism, you could say. Theravāda and Mahayana.
I always find this distinction so interesting. People often lump them together.
But they're really just different engineering strategies for handling the same problem.
So let's look at path one, the Theravāda approach.
Yeah.
Based on the notes, this sounds like a hard reset.
It is. The Theravāda analysis is very logical. It says, okay, this movie is full of suffering, sickness, death, loss. The plot is stressful. The most direct solution is to cut the power.
You pull the battery.
You systematically dismantle tanha. You stop the craving. You stop wanting to be in the movie. And when the craving stops, the projector stops.
The screen goes dark.
And what's left?
Just the air, the emptiness.
Right. The illusion vanishes, the dust settles. And that is the Theravāda definition of nirvana in this analogy, is cooling down, cessation, total peace.
I can see the appeal. It's like finally turning off a noisy TV that's been on for a million years. Just silence.
It's total liberation. But then the source pivots to path two, the Mahayana approach. And this is where things get a little more paradoxical.
Okay.
Because the Mahayana practitioner, the Bodhisattva, looks at this whole setup and says, wait a minute, I don't actually need to turn it off.
Why not? If the movie is suffering, why would you keep it on? That seems masochistic.
Because of one crucial insight. The Bodhisattva realizes that even while the movie is playing, the air is still there.
Oh, right. The image doesn't destroy the screen. The dust doesn't replace the air.
Exactly. Śūnyatā, the emptiness, it never left. It's right there, permeating the entire image. So the Bodhisattva realizes they don't need to destroy the illusion to find peace. They just need to see through it.
It's like watching a horror movie. But instead of getting scared, you're admiring the camera work. You're aware of the medium.
Yes. And because they know it's a projection, they aren't afraid of it. But here is the really cool part, what the source calls the energy swap. The Bodhisattva keeps the projector running. They stay in the world, but they take out the battery.
Okay, so they remove the tanha, the selfish craving, but the machine needs power. What do they put in its place?
The new battery is made of Mahapranatana and Mahakaruna.
Break those down for us.
Mahapranatana is the great vow, a huge, firm resolution, and Mahakaruna is great compassion. So the machine is still projecting a life. The Bodhisattva is walking, talking, eating, but the motivation driving it is totally different.
So it's not running for themselves anymore?
Not at all. They know it's all fake. They don't need anything from it. They're running the movie for the sake of all the other people who are still trapped in the theater screaming at the screen.
They keep the lights on so they can help everyone else find the exit.
That's the whole idea. Stay in the illusion to guide others out.
This leads us perfectly to that second analogy, which I honestly think makes this whole thing click for a modern brain. We go from the cinema to the arcade.
The video game analogy, yes. It's brilliant because it explains why you would bother engaging with a fake world if you know it's fake.
So the source asks us to see reality, samsara, as a giant MMORPG. You know, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game.
And in this game, most of us, we're the players.
Guilty. Totally a player. I'm grinding for XP, trying to get the best gear, comparing my stats to my friends, and I am terrified of that game over screen.
That's the player mindset. It's driven by achievement, accumulation, fear, and game over is death and rebirth. We're all just scrambling to get a high score before the timer runs out. It's stressful.
But then you have the NPC, the non-player character.
Right. For anyone who doesn't game, that's the background character. The shopkeeper who sells you potions, the village elder who gives you the map. They're in the game, but they aren't playing the game.
And the source suggests that the Bodhisattva is basically a high-level glitched NPC.
Glitched in the best possible way, yes. They're in the code, but they're not bound by the rules of winning and losing.
But wait a second, isn't being an NPC terrible? I think of an NPC, I think of some character with no free will who just repeats the same line over and over. Welcome to Corneria. Why would anyone want to be that?
It sounds boring from the player's perspective because the player values ego and choice. But the source argues there's an immense spiritual power in this. It lists 3 key characteristics of the spiritual NPC that turn it into a superpower.
Okay, lay them out for me. Number 1.
The first is anatta, or no self. Think about it. Does a shopkeeper in a game have an ego? Do they want to go slay the dragon and get all the glory?
No, they're just code. Their function is to sell potions.
Right. They've deleted the self program. A player's obsessed with my score, my win. The NPC has none of that. The Bodhisattva has realized anatta. They're just functioning code in the universe without that sticky ego saying, I need to be the hero.
Which has to be incredibly freeing. You don't have the pressure of the main storyline on your shoulders.
Yeah.
You're just there.
Exactly. You're part of the support system.
Okay, what's the second characteristic?
The second is what drives them. If not ego, then what? In a game, the NPC follows a script written by the developers. For the Bodhisattva, that script is the Great Vow.
The new battery?
Yes. They have programmed themselves with a vow to assist all beings. They are literal service code. Their operating system just says, assist.
And the third?
The third is the motivation. The Brahmavihara's mercy and compassion. A player acts out of tanha, desire. I want that cool sword. An NPC, in this spiritual sense, acts because they see a player struggling.
You look like you're low on health. Here's a potion.
Exactly. You look lost. Here's a map. Their only goal is to help us, the struggling players, clear the level, to end our suffering.
The visual this creates is so strong. I'm picturing this chaotic battlefield. Swords, fireballs, players dressing about their rankings. And right in the middle, standing perfectly calm, is the Bodhisattva. Not fighting, just holding out a health potion.
And that calm comes from knowing it's a game. That's the key. They know the fire can't actually burn the code. A player runs from the dragon because they're afraid to lose. The NPC stands there because they know the dragon is just pixels.
But they stay online specifically to help someone who is lost.
Yes. If they logged off, if they unplugged the machine like in the Theravāda path, there would be no one left to hand out the maps.
It really flips the script on what it means to be spiritual. We often think of this secluded hermit on a mountain, but this is saying the most spiritual thing you can do is stand in the middle of a busy office.
Yeah.
And just be the helpful NPC.
It's about being in the world, but not of it. Engaging with it perfectly.
Okay, so this is all fascinating, but let's bring it down to Monday morning. I'm not a monk. I still want a promotion. How do we apply this without shaving our heads?
You don't have to go full Bodhisattva. The sources suggest a couple of practical things. First, just try using that projector visualization as a buffer.
How does that work, like in the moment?
Say you're in a crisis, a real one, a breakup, you're stuck in traffic, you're about to be late for a huge meeting, the emotions are flooding in.
The ominous music is swelling.
Right. In that moment, just for a second, try to zoom out, visualize the beam of light hitting the dust, remind yourself, this scene is intense, but it's just light on air.
So it's not dissociation like checking out.
It's the opposite. It's checking in to the deeper reality. It gives you just enough distance to breathe. You can say, this is a tragedy scene, interesting plot twist, instead of getting drowned by it.
It makes you the audience instead of the victim.
Exactly. And the second part is adopting that NPC mindset, just as a relief valve for stress.
But how? We're taught from birth to be the stars of our own movie.
And that's the problem. It's exhausting trying to be the star. Every step back is a catastrophe. So the idea is to intentionally reduce the player mindset.
Stop obsessing over the scoreboard.
Stop comparing your inventory, your car, your salary to your neighbors, and instead try to install that compassion program. Shift the question from what can I get out of this to
how can I assist others in this level?
Precisely. Imagine walking into a high-stakes meeting. The player thinks, I need to win this. The NPC walks in thinking, how can I help this team solve this problem? I don't need the credit. I just want the level cleared.
That is a huge shift. You instantly lose the fear of judgment because it's not about you.
And the great irony is that this is where real freedom is. We think freedom is winning the game, but real freedom is playing the game without the fear of losing.
Because you know it's just a projection.
You know it's just a game. If you're the shopkeeper, you don't care if the dragon burns down the village because you know the code can be rewritten. You're just there to help the players who are afraid. You become the stable point in a chaotic world.
Wow. It's funny, we spend so much time trying to be somebody. And this philosophy says the ultimate goal is to become nobody, just a function of compassion.
The paradox of the Great Vow. By giving up your story, you become part of the universal story. You become indestructible.
So let's just recap. We started with the projector in the air, realizing emptiness isn't a void, but an open space.
Then we looked at the battery of craving that keeps us trapped in the movie.
We looked at the two paths. The Theravāda, hard reset, just unplugging the machine.
And the Mahayana energy swap, keeping the movie running but on the power of compassion.
And finally, we saw the Bodhisattva as the ultimate NPC, the character who stays in the game not to win, but to help everyone else find their way home.
That's a great summary.
I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Something that wasn't explicitly in the texts, but just popped in my head.
Let's hear it.
Think about the times in your life where you felt the most joy, like pure flow. Was it when you were stressing about your own success? When you were checking the scoreboard?
Probably not. Those moments are full of tension.
Right. Now think about the moments where you completely forgot yourself. Maybe helping a friend move, or just totally focused on playing with a kid, or really, really listening to someone who needed to talk.
Those moments where time just disappears, where you disappear.
Exactly. In those moments, you weren't the main character. You were the helper. You were the NPC. And my question is this. If you stopped trying to be the protagonist and started acting like the helpful shopkeeper instead, would you feel less free? Or might that actually be the ultimate liberation?
The freedom of having nothing to lose because you're not playing for yourself anymore.
Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for this.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the void. See you the next level.